Greetings fellow flight simmers and welcome to Father-Son Flight Sim. Today we are going to be flying a Freeware, the Navion 205, which is available on xplane.org. It's made by VFlyte, and this plane, even if you don't do this in VR, I highly recommend you get this. It is a wonderful little plane. Has a built-in the Avi tab built in already, and it's four-seater plane. In VR this thing works perfectly. We're gonna go take it for a spin. Let's go ahead and we can go on the ground, look on it from the outside on the ground. It's a wonderful little plane here. It's an oldie. I mean, this thing is probably from the 1940s as far as I can tell. This comes in, if you go on the xplane.org, you'll see there's many different liveries already built for it that you can download. This is one that I really like. It's a chrome, well, sort of a polished aluminum with some accents on it. You have a red prop and wingtips and a red bladed prop on the tips, so it looks really fantastic. So let's go ahead and get into the pilot seat. Now, right away, you notice in the plane, this is really vintage. I mean, this is really old school stuff. We only have one VOR nav to play around with. This thing is really not suitable for IFR flying, although theoretically you could do some things like a VOR approach, but if you did, you will be fumbling with one nav trying to do that. It's probably not recommended that you use this for IFR flying. However, for VFR flying, it is fine. And today we have high clouds, scattered cumulonimbus, and they're far above where we're going to be flying today. We are going to be going from Fresno, and here's the built-in. Look at that. The built-in Avi tablet is manipulatable. It's stuck on the cockpit glass there, and you can angle it however you want. It's a little bit small, so it's a little tough to see, but I'm going to back off here a little bit. You can see we're going to go from here. We're going to join this airway to the Pinoche VOR, and then from there we are going to follow this airway again to, what is that, the Salinas VOR, and then from there we're going to head to Monterey and land. So there's two VOR changes and we only have one VOR, so that means we're going to put the Pinoche on the first, and then standby will be the Salinas VOR. So we'll have to program that all in and get it dialed into our radial that we want. So now this plane, now I also have my flight plan here from the SkyVector website. And you can see now it's giving me, since I have on the airway, since I put it on the airway, it's giving me all the waypoints in between on the airway. I don't really need that. All I really need is this information here, the Pinoche and the Salinas, and then the headings, the magnetic headings. So we will be checking, making sure we have enough fuel, and this is probably an hour flight, so I might do some editing and cut it down a little bit as we go on the straight and flight, but there's very little. I don't think there's any autopilot on this, so we will have to hand fly this thing the whole time. Look at this. This is the throttle right here. That is a huge knob. I think that is the. I think that's the mix. No, that's the prop. I think, yeah, that's the propeller, and I think the mixture is right here. And then here's your gear handle, and I think these down here. This is your emergency gear pump, like hydraulic pump, which I don't think we'll be using. You have a trim here, so, and then you have a start button here behind the wheel, and the battery switches are behind that, so it's a little bit hard. It's going to be interesting to manipulate. It's not really used to this layout because it's really kind of old school. I think that's the parking brake right there, and some lights there. So here's our nav right here, our nav 1. It says we have a nav 2, but there's not one hooked up. This is just we don't have a nav 2 anywhere in this plane. Just a nav 1, which is right there, and you can see that is really old school looking VOR. It's going to be hard to see that, but the OBS dial there doesn't have the NE, the NWSE on there. It just goes by regular. It's a little hard to control, so it's going to be a little hard to dial in, which means I may want to go into the VR config file and change the steps and change the degrees per action, because it is kind of hard to manipulate. So we might have to, let's see, I think our first, when we get onto the airway, our first heading will be, looks like 258 to Pinoche. So let me see if I can dial that. Let's see how easy it is. See, it just likes to. Doesn't take much. Okay, I think that's about as good as I'm going to get. All right, 260. So that's going to be interesting to deal with when we're in the air. All right, so let's go ahead and start this baby up. Okay, so we have a battery here. And let's see, we have the generator. That's alternator. You have your mag switches here. We need to go ahead and put the mixture all the way up. Throttle in 1/4 inch, prop all the way in. And let's see, we have somewhere here there's a carb heat. I think that's it right here. We have carb heat, which will be needed when we get into low RPMs for the engine, like when we're coming in for landing. And let's see, we have a mode C transponder here. Let's go ahead and squawk VFR. There we go. Squawking VFR now. And let's see, our ATIS, actually let's put in the, it's going to be 112.6. Okay, so that's 112.6. That should be reading Pinoche, although it doesn't seem that we can read it just yet. 112.6, 112.6. Okay, so our ATIS, so that's going to be interesting. I hope we can figure that out, figure our way out. The ATIS is 12135.
Fresno Air Terminal Information Kilo 2100 Zulu weather. Wind 030 at 10, visibility more than 10.
Okay.
Sky conditions 8,900 scattered.
Okay.
Temperature 14, dew point -7. Altimeter 2992.
2992.
Arriving runway 11 left. Departing runway 11 right.
So we're
Advised
taking off
on initial
this way.
contact you have Kilo.
Okay, so we're going to be taking off 11. That means that we're going to be taking off in basically this direction down here. And let's see, we're going to be then doing a left departure, depending on which one way, and then downwind departure, and then we'll try to intercept the radial here. I want to try to aim for Blair, which is going to be a 277 degree heading there. Okay, our flight altitude is going to be 6,500. Let's see, the altimeter was 29092. Let's see if I can get that in. Well, let's see, the altitude for Fresno, 336, so it should be down a little bit. And that's really hard to see, but I see that's right there is the 29.9. So it should be right about there, I believe. Okay, which is a little bit lower than what it's indicating for. So if it's 336, it should be a little higher than that. There, that's really where it should be. 2992, though that looks like 300, that looks like 299, so it looks a little off. Well, it is an old plane, But I more trust the ground elevation than I do that little dial there. So, anyways, we'll go. We'll be VFR, so we'll be fine. All right, so let's start this up. We have, let's see, we have the fuel mixture in. Let's see, we don't have a fuel pump. Let's go ahead and get the mags on. So the mags are on now both. We can start it up. Okay, start it up right away. Get it down to 1,000 RPM. Okay, looking good. Let's get the canopy closed. Look at that, isn't that beautiful? Alright, so we are now in, and actually look at the lights work and everything. Whoops. Lights work. We need a dome light. Okay, which are we heading? Let's see, we have, let's see, that looks like 205 it looks like we're pointing to. And where's our heading indicator? Is it going to be compass only? Looks like it. Looks like we don't have a heading indicator. Looks like we're going to have to go compass. Oh, there it is. Wow, that's old school. That is old school. Look at that. That's okay. So there, it's about like that. There we go. That is just about right. Okay, 204. Got that. All right. Now down here we have a layout. I think this is the tower. We should be somewhere in the, I think we're somewhere over here. Let's see, there's the tower over there to my left. And we're pointing towards the building. I think we're kind of right here pointing this way. Let's see, 220 would be, actually we'd be pointing somewhere that way, huh? If we're pointing to 204, we'd be pointing somewhere in the neighborhood of this direction, like that. So I'm guessing this is Bravo, and we are going to taxi out to Bravo, and to get to 1, we're going to have to turn left. That's what I'm guessing. So let's see if I get that right. Alright, so brakes off. Okay, that's your brake, it looks like. There's the hydraulic pump here. And the sounds when you're taxiing, it sounds like it's an old rickety plane, you know? So we'll do a quick run up when we get to the, yep, there's Bravo. Looks like, oh, is that Alpha? Let's see, is that Alpha? Yes, that is Alpha. So that means we're pointing right here, which means we're going to have to turn left, get onto Bravo, and turn left. So I'm going to go ahead and get onto Alpha. And then we'll cut over to Bravo as soon as we can. Can't wait till they do something about the ground. I was really sensitive on these brake pedals. Okay, so now we're at Bravo. We're going to turn left again. And there's our windsock that shows we're going to be just about right. It shows, I think we're in the right orientation for takeoff. Good. So when we turn around and take off, it's going to be all legit. Okay, so the sounds of this plane are absolutely excellent. Absolutely excellent. looks like we can do a run up right here. Get out of the way of people. Okay. Parking brake back on. Go up to about 1800. Alright. Magneto 1 check. Magneto 2 check. We're good. Okay. We have flaps. Now the flaps are not notched, so you have to press and hold them. You have to press and hold them. Alright. Let's see if we have oil pressure and all that. We're in the green there, we're in the green there. Well, let's see, oil pressure looks pretty high. I didn't do a cycle prop. Cycle the prop. Yeah, looking good there. Alright, let's check controls. That goes up, that goes down. Okay, then we have elevator and we have our rudders working. Okay, good. Now I'm a little worried that we don't have the we don't seem to have the VOR signal yet, which is a little concerning to me because that means I'm just going to have to fly by heading. So let's go back up. We're now I think over here. So we're going to be taking off in that direction, 1110. Okay. And we'll do, since we're on the right, we're going to do a right downwind departure. And we'll head to Bleer at roughly, looks like 277 until we intercept 258. Let's see, let's hope it comes in. Alright, we're ready to go. Ready to roll. Parking brake off. Trims a little bit up. Okay, so let's go ahead and take off. So a little bit of a crosswind takeoff, but I think it is in the right direction, so full power. You hear those creaks the plane does? Okay, and we have takeoff. Gear up. And I'm glad the VOR has come in, so we're good. As soon as we got off the ground, it came in. That's good. Okay, let's throttle down a little bit. Get in the green. Get it down to about power climb. Okay, we'll get on the downwind. And we're on the crosswind now, so let's get on downwind. We're climbing to 6,500 feet. Completely VFR the entire way. About right. Okay. now we'll turn to 277, which should be off to the left. It's really old school controls here. Alright, let's make sure we're getting a little slow here. Let's get our nose down. Get some speed. Now the speedometer, or the airspeed indicator, is in miles per hour. So that's also something I'm not used to. Here it's all going to be in knots, but we're in miles per hour on the actual gauges. And now I'm looking for the VOR signal to come in. Jeez, likes to drift, doesn't it? So these gauges are kind of throwing me off because it's like sort of counterintuitive. When I turn left, it's scrolling to the right. Okay, I'm still gonna nose down a little bit more. I want to try to establish a 5,000 or 500 feet per minute climb. Get the power dialed in for that. So it is really tricky to keep your heading when it's like in this format, you know? Really tricky. Now luckily I have a movie map here. So I'll have a little bit of help from that. But boy, look at how easy it is to get off. See, I wanted to turn right there to get back onto heading because it was to my right. I'm so used to that. It's throwing me off a little bit, these old school controls. All right. Back to level. Okay, we're good. Coming out of 3,500 feet now. Now that is really challenging. I'm glad that these gauges have evolved the way they did. Makes you appreciate it. Okay, I'm trimming up the plane now. It's starting to speed up a little bit. Now, one thing tricky with this plane is that it doesn't really have a very good indicator of what the white arc is, and it's very easy to overspeed the flaps and the gear. So it's one thing to watch out for this plane. Interesting. See, it did it again. Okay, now back on the airway. I was a little off there. So let's go for 243. Now let's see if the wind is blowing us off a little bit. Okay, so the next station after that is Salinas, which will be, let's see, Salinas VOR is, let's see if I can find it here. There it is. 117.3. So we're all ready to go there. Whoa, look at that. So this particular plane takes a lot of skill to fly if you're not used to these old gauges. You know, you cannot use autopilot. You have to hand fly it. It requires you to have some skill to be able to trim the plane, fly straight and level, and fly the correct headings. And luckily we have our Avitab here to help out, but you also have to know a little bit about the VOR navigation. The VOR is going to start getting really sensitive as I'm now about 5 miles out. I know that because the radial ring around the VOR is at 10 miles. So I'm just basically judging it relative to that. About halfway into the radial compass rose there, so and don't forget, when you're flying this thing, you also have to keep your head outside once in a while. In the real world, you'd be looking for other planes, you'd be talking to ATC, as well as trying to manage your altitude, which I'm already low. Geez, look at that. I'm already low. Let's get back up there, 6,500. You'd be managing your heading, you'd be managing your navigation. Okay, gotta get back up there. And actually, this plane has a CSL if you want to take it on Pilot Edge. You can potentially do that. Or see others that are flying it on Pilot Edge. It would be a really nice VFR challenge plane. You're almost guaranteed to have a busy time in the cockpit trying to manage all that stuff. Good practice. Good practice. Okay, we are about to get past that VOR now. We're going to see the VOR go from a to to a from. There it goes. And another thing is that on this OBS, you want the bottom window. Yep, there goes the from. Okay, so now I'm going to dial in the next station. And I'm going to dial in the to. There we go. So it's 265 or 250. So we want to turn to 250. Alright, and we're going to stay on that 250 as long as we can until we get to Salinas. Very simple turn. What is that over here? Now that is vintage. Bake me a cake. Bake me a cake. That's funny. That's fun. I guess people who made this V-Flight had a sense of humor. That's funny. Yeah, that is vintage, all right. I'm pretty sure not too many planes have a record player in the glove box. that was good. That was good. I like that. All right, coming up on Salinas, almost there, and then we'll be starting our descent into Monterey. Technically, we could start it now, but I think I'm gonna wait until we're on just to sort of get over this airspace here. Of course, ATC in the real world would be directing me on that, so I wouldn't be too worried about it. But now I can't set my heading indicators like I normally would to remind me that we're going to be heading in on a 110 for the airport, for the runway. I'm just kind of visualizing it based on my moving map and my orientation from the compass headings or the headings. But basically, VFR, we're going to just basically descend and hit straight for it. And we're going to try not to go too fast on the speed and get down to pattern altitude. This thing likes to turn right. And these are all orthos down here. It all looks pretty good, huh? We are almost at Salinas. I'm going to actually start descent now. It's a shame to leave this nicely trimmed up state. Finally, I got it into a good trim, but we need to get down there. So let's go ahead and start drawing the power back, start getting a 500 feet per minute descent going. And get down to pattern altitude. going to be watching my exhaust so that I can make sure that I keep the mixture right. Alright, we've passed. Now I want to go 2, 4, 5. That is really tough to set. Monterey should be straight ahead. Let's check ATIS one more time.
Monterey Regional Information Lima. 2200 Zulu weather. Wind 030 at 10. Visibility more than 10. Sky conditions 8900 scattered. Temperature 14. Dew point -7. Altimeter 2992. Arriving runways 10 left, 10 right. Departing runways 10 left, 10 right. Advise on initial contact, you have Lima.
Alright, no change there. The airport elevation is 257, so we're going to be descending roughly to 1500. We might have to do some circling to get down in time. I'm going to slowly bring the prop as we get down. We are now below 3,000 feet, so I'm going to go full mixture. And the airport should be right in front of us. I think that's it right there. There's the airport right there. Okay, almost at 1500, and then we'll slow up for landing. I'm gonna go land on the big runway. Slow up a little bit more, make sure, so I can get the gear down. Alright, gear down. Okay, got 3 greens, we're good. Retrim. A little bit of flaps. I'm gonna have to watch that speed. I don't want to go in beyond that wide arc. Okay, I think we're good for a base turn. Got to keep my orientation to the runway. flaps. A little bit too close in, but that's okay. We have plenty of runway. And now full flaps. There we go. Alright. A little bit squirrely there on the runway. I'm getting a lot of torque here on the ground, even with low RPMs. Okay, flaps up. Let's go park. I'm gonna go to those hangars over there. Yeah, see, it was a crosswind landing. That was a little bit hit me when I had the wheels down. All right. I think I'm gonna park between those two Cessnas. Close there, but I think we're good. Now on landing there, what I should have done was I should have put the carb heat on. I forgot to, which is not good. I should have remembered that. I'm so used to not flying with carb heat, you know, because it's fuel injection nowadays. So, you know, I forgot that. So, but I didn't run into any problems with carb heat, so that's good. We don't need that anymore. Okay. And we don't need this anymore, but it's okay. Okay. Really love that. You can manipulate it like that. So let's go ahead and shut down. Let's see, 1,000 RPM. That's good. That's good. Okay. Alright, let's get the magnetos off, the generator, the power off, get the parking brake on. Let's get out of here. And with the canopy. And there you have it. There is the Navion 205, Ryan 205, which is an excellent plane. It requires more skill than you might think to fly it because of the lack of modern navigation aids. The lack of an autopilot. You must have some skill to fly it. It's a great plane to fly and get some practice on. I really love how well it's modeled. Runs great, lands great, flies great. You can't fly it in IFR too much. Well, at least it'd be very, very difficult to fly this in IFR, so keep it VFR. And that is our special today on the Navion 205. We hope you enjoyed it, and I recommend you get this plane. It is free, and there's not that many Freeware planes of this quality. I highly recommend it. So we'll see you next time on Father-Son Flight Simulator, and have a great day.